off we go to the next job. I was trying to show Mr. Donnie where we needed to go on my phone. He said, how about you just throw that damn thing away and follow me? That thing will get you lost. I said, I'll be right behind you. Well, it was just a pouring down rain when we unloaded this thing. I got soaking wet, but I have changed shirts. I'm ready to get all the way back here to the back. So have to unload right there off the highway on that little pull out right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and walk the machine all the way back here to the back. This is the job, the 90-acre farm the guy bought, where I did the ditches, draining the swamp, and clearing for the house lot. He's hired me back now. He's got 5 more acres he wants to clear to put in a bunch of fruit trees. So I'm going to go down there and take a look at that area. Go ahead and take the machine back, go back and get my truck and come in the other entrance. So if you remember this job, it's where I started first part of this year. I think it was actually draining the swamp because I dug a ditch from right there all the way up through the woods, all the way up there, and then all the way over to another road, the path that goes all the way to the back, and then I cleared the house lot that you can actually see all the way through the woods right there. But this was so wet and swampy you couldn't even do anything with it. But it looks like I know that was still a little wet in there, probably too bumpy to mow, but it looks like everything's kind of dried out. We just got a big downpour, that's why there's still some puddles, but it looks like it's faring pretty well compared to what it was. So what I'm going to be doing, I got to take the grading bucket off, put the digging bucket back on. I'm going to be clearing this section of trees right here all the way up to the corner. It should be around 5 acres, and piling all that up and burning it. So pretty much from right here all the way to the tree line, all that is coming out. So I'm gonna bring my truck around, take the drone, fly it up, and you can kind of get a little aerial of what I've got to do. Looks like the path is held up pretty well. This was so wet you couldn't even drive down it. Once it dries out, I'm probably bring the dozer down here and cut the ditches a little bit better. But all in all, I think it's held up pretty good for what I had to work with. Looks like the ditch I dug there is draining like it ought to, keeping everything dried out. You can see the water flowing down into that over there. Still got our burn pile over there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work for about a half a day down here, get some of this cleared and the brush piled up so that it can start to dry out, and then when I get back in town I come back down here and might be able to start burning some and clear some more. The edges are always the worst. It's where everything grows the thickest. At least it's still dusty in here. We've had a pretty dry spell, so I figured it'd be all right down in here. See, it's still dusty. It's nice and wet on top from that rain, but it's still dry down where it counts. Things are aggravating though. You can't do nothing with them but just kind of rip them up. It's like a root mat of them. Piles of dirt when I dug the ditch there and kind of spread everything out. Aggravating stuff about this is it's got such a root mat on it. You get so much dirt in there with it. Luckily it's dry and it should shake most of the dirt out. But when you're trying to clear this stuff and it's wet, all you do is end up with a giant pile of muddy roots. After that first video, I dug into a giant nest of ground bees. They were all swarming around, so I had to shut the door. Now I'm working on this stuff right here. Slow but steady. A lot of roots and bushes and everything. And now the problem with the ground being so dry, it's like one extreme to the other. When it was wet, you could just push the trees right over. That one actually come over pretty good though. Now you kind of got to dig around them to get them broke loose. But that's still fine. It's a whole lot easier to clear dry ground than mud with sticks in it. pick everything up, drop it a few times, and majority of the dirt gets off of them, off the roots and stumps. Pile it up, and I'll work for a couple more hours and get probably the rest of this section a little bit more of another pass made, and that'll let this dry out for a week or so while I go to the construction expo and with the meet and greet. I'm also going to be up there for a week and return the favor that Mike did and work for him a little bit and hang out with Logger Wade for a day and do a little bit of logging. So I'm looking forward to that trip. You'll probably see this video before I get back on from the trip, but expect to be seeing a lot of videos from that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm ready for a little getaway. I haven't really had a chance to go anywhere this year, and I'm looking for a week away. But I'll give this a good time to dry out some. So I can tell why it didn't drain well when they cleared that. You can see all of the piles of dirt in here. It's like they just pushed it up to the bulldozer. It made all these windrows of dirt that just kind of keep stuff from draining pretty badly. So I'll spread all that out once I get it cleared and kind of raked. It just makes clearing a little difficult because you're trying to knock stuff down and grab it. There's piles of dirt everywhere. But it'll be okay. Ain't nothing I can't handle. At least I'm not splattering through the mud, so that's a good thing. Last time you'd take a tree down and go to shake the dirt off the stump and just mud would fling all over everything. Plucking away at it. This is just an overgrown mess right here, but if you mulched it, you'd end up with so much of this stuff sprouting back. Really, the best way to do it is rip it out like I'm doing. And you couldn't really mulch it because all these piles of dirt. where the dozer I'll rake through all this stuff and clean it up a little bit more. But you gotta level that enough where you can drive over it without rocking all over the place like I'm doing right now. You end up with is just a giant pile of roots from all the briars. But if you don't get those out, they'll just start sprouting back. Well, I made it to the end of my first pass that I was doing clearing. I'm going down the road until I get far enough to make it back that way, and I'll just kind of keep wind rolling this stuff as I go all the way down to the original road where I come in at. Trying to get as much stuff knocked down where it can dry out. Hopefully have a good clean burn. But with all this small stuff, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Stuff and not get so much dirt is the tricky part. Christopher. Got hung on the thumb. I got leafed. You'll get that on these big jobs. It was a good productive morning over here. Got a fair amount cleared so I can lay out here and dry some, and just kind of getting started on this project. So starting to open up so I can see what I got. I didn't realize this was so much higher than the road. That's probably why the road doesn't drain very well. This is higher, and then there's a berm over there, so the road is actually a ditch pretty much. So well, that's what I've got to clear. Still a long ways all the way down to my truck right there, and then that much more on the other side of the ditch. So I'll be here a while, but it'll be a nice field when I get it all done. I'll see you in about a week or so there.